So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you coming from?
I'm from LA. I'm an ex-Miss California, won Miss California 3 times, and now I do OnlyFans.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So the model career didn't work out.
No, I mean, I'm kind of short. Like, I stopped growing at 5'2", and I don't think most places that want, like, models want, like, curvy girls. Like, asses aren't a big thing when you're, like, in the Kendall Jenner model world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wait, so, okay, you're from LA. How did you end up getting into this Miss California business?
My mom, I think, kind of wanted to live through me growing up.
Oh, she's one of them?
She's one of them. So I was like 3 or 4 years old competing in Miss California. And like here I was being like the biggest Christian, like God is so holy. Like I went on missionary trips. I like fed the homeless. I was doing all these fundraisers. So it was super easy for me to win Miss California when I was like younger. And then when I started competing in like the Miss USA California and the Miss America California in my teen years, I was like starting to rebel and it was a lot less genuine and I just stopped winning things.
It's kind of like a beauty pageant?
They're technically, I mean, I don't know if beauty pageant is the right word because we weren't allowed to wear makeup when we were like under 14, I believe. So 14 was the year that you could start wearing makeup.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow. So like, okay, give us like what it's actually like to be in that world though. Like you're just kind of constantly, were you focused on your body and like having to stay in shape all the time, or what goes into being one of those girls?
It takes a lot of training. So basically the training is teaching you how to answer questions a certain way, and I think it teaches you to be someone you're not. So you're supposed to answer questions like how the judges want you to answer them and not being your authentic, genuine self.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it definitely teaches you that like how you are naturally isn't really good enough, or at least that's like my experience. And like, I mean, I had an eating disorder starting in 6th grade, and I do think pageants were like a big factor of that because I'm like, I'm not as skinny as these other girls. Like, why do I have an ass already? Like, this isn't normal, or like that. Those were the thoughts going through my head.
Oh, so like when a judge would ask you like, what do you want to do? Your answer would be like, save the world and save every kid that, okay.
Yeah, and then when I was in high school, I remember my answer started getting, I guess, a little more political because I'm like, fuck genetic modification. I like hate the FDA and like the food system and stuff like that. And then the judges hated those answers. So it's like we kind of butted heads sometimes because some of the judges worked in like, or one of the sponsors for the pageants was like a pistachio company who's very involved with Monsanto and GMOs and stuff like that. So then they just stopped liking my answers.
Listen, if I ever make it to a point in life where I got a pistachio company telling me what to do, I mean, I'm just saying, that just sounds terrible. Like, do you think that should these things be abolished? Should they not exist?
I mean, pageants, I mean, a lot of girls love doing pageants, and for them, it, like, makes their confidence flourish. For me, I was like, well, I don't want to be, I don't want to be an inauthentic version of me on stage. Like, I don't want to have to say something because the judges want me to say it. So for me, it was just not a great experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you, like, neglect your parents? Like, they're like, oh, Mom, why'd you make me do that? Like...
Oh, I literally have been like, Mother, why did you make me do that? Because, I mean, since I won Miss California a few times, I was like bullied a lot in the pageant system, and then I was bullied a lot at school. So
because you were the prettiest girl in California?
I don't think I wasn't the prettiest girl, but I must
Isn't
have
that
been.
what you win?
But I mean, it's only the girls who enter and try to be part of it. And I would say that like most or a large percentage of the prettiest girls in California maybe wouldn't think that this was the best use of their time.
Okay.
Definitely.
It's not like they're like combing the state to find all of the beauties. It's really the girls who choose to. But compare this in the pageant world. Are there like bigger pageants?
Like, do you mean bigger pageants than what the ones I did?
Yeah, or it's like Miss California. That's pretty much like the biggest thing in California.
I mean, that's the biggest thing in California,
Okay.
but there's different pageant systems. So it's like growing up, like when you're a kid, the biggest pageant systems are usually like National American Miss and co-ed. And then when you get to be about 14, it's like the Miss America system and then the Miss USA system. And then those are the two big ones. But
So you won at what age?
I was, I think, 3 years old the first year I won, and then I won again at 5.
That's a miss. Like, like when you said miss, I'm picturing you out there with the gown and like, but then you're like, oh, I was 3, and I'm like, oh shit, you were 3. Like that's not what I was picturing at all. Also, can you move the Kirkland and the Red Bull to the other side just so if they want to glare at your body, they'll be able to?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I had like my thong poking out, so just a little visual.
Oh, that's hard. That's fire. We love
fire.
we
Yeah,
love
we
a
love
little
thongs.
thong poke out here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, you were done with that by what age?
I was 16 when I wanted to stop doing pageants. But I mean, part of it was that I wanted to stop doing pageants. The other part is like I started kind of like partying, going out. And then when I was 17, my parents sent me to rehab for weed in one of those programs in Utah.
Wow.
Oh, with the Mormons.
With the Mormons, yes. Oh my God, it was awful. It was god awful. But my whole senior year of high school, I was at a rehab program in Utah, and they couldn't even say I was like addicted to anything because I maybe smoked like once a month, and I just happened to fail a drug test at the wrong time.
Right.
So then they shipped me. I had people kidnap me and be like, "You're coming with us," and I was like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "If you run, we'll catch you." And I'm like, "Fair enough." So I went in the car.
So you're like in there, and they're kind of telling you like, oh, you need to stop smoking weed, and you're like, well, I don't even really smoke weed, and I don't think it's that bad. Or were you like becoming convinced that it actually was bad?
Oh no, I was never convinced that it was bad, but I definitely had to hide a huge part of my personality because like what these rehab programs do in Utah is like, I mean, it's a moneymaker for them. So they'll try to convince your parents that you're way worse than you are, that you have all these problems you don't. They'll tell your parents you're lying about this, this, and this.
Right.
So then your parents are like, oh my God, I'm so glad I sent her. I'm saving her life. And then here I was like not really having any issues. Like I graduated my senior year with like a 4.3 because I took all honors classes and got A's in like every class but one.
Wow.
So they were trying to convince my parents I was like some awful kid, but you know, I just like to party. I still like to party.
So
but
your parents paid somebody to kidnap you
Yeah.
and take you all the way to Utah.
you know how much those programs cost?
How much?
Like $80,000 for my parents to send me, and then that's how I found
A
out.
year?
Yeah, that's how it was for. It's a 10-month program, so $80K for like a 10-month program.
I'd like
yeah.
to start a rehab. If you even get one customer, you're making
good.
$80K.
Yeah,
And for what part of LA you from?
I'm from Manhattan Beach.
You gangbang?
Do I gangbang? I actually just started having orgies, but so far.
Whoa, okay. I got way more than I expected out of that. I thought I was just fucking around. I was trying to find out if she was a Sereno or what.
I mean, I do orgies with like all girls. Like,
Okay.
honestly,
No
I did,
dicks.
I haven't done a dick orgy yet.
That's
no.
his rule.
I love your orgies. Yes, okay, continue with the orgies.
Yeah, I love girl orgies because I feel like, I mean, I didn't even know I was bisexual till I started doing OnlyFans. I just always thought I was like bi-curious. And then all of a sudden I'm like licking clits and I'm like, yeah, I'm bi. Like,
Really?
yeah.
I love that.
Like you like describe what that's like for me because it's like, you know, I can't even like look at a dick without being like, you know what, I'm straight.
Oh my God.
But so for you, you weren't were you attracted to women? Do you think it was buried deep down inside because you hadn't experimented?
I think so because my senior year of college, I remember like, I mean, I mainly hang out with a lot of guys. I just like to hang out with guy friends better usually. And I went to a strip club with all of them. So they paid for me to get a stripper and then all of them got strippers. And then the stripper happened to be lesbian and she's like, are you bi? And I was like, I don't really know. And then she started like fooling around with me, kind of because she's lesbian and she started like fingering me and stuff. And I was like, I think I'm like bi, but like I didn't want to put a label on it because I didn't want to be like I'm bisexual or I was just drunk and horny.
Right.
And then when I started experimenting sober, because like I do really like women, I think women are hot. Like sometimes when women like dance with me, I like get super turned on and I watch like lesbian porn, but like who doesn't?
Right.
So
Not me. I need a dick in there.
oh, interesting.
It just feels like there's nothing happening otherwise.
The way you were. When did you start like your sex drive? When did it start? It started like at a young age, like
I was
when
like 14.
college. You were like 14 when you lost your virginity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just remember really wanting to get it over with. So I lost it to my ex-boyfriend's best friend because he was down and I was like, I just don't want to be I just didn't want to be a virgin anymore. I was like, I just want to
No, but I love that dynamic because I remember when I was like, 20, that there was a girl on the other side of town, this like 18-year-old chick. She barely even fucking knew me. And she basically told me that she didn't want to lose her virginity to one of the dudes that she was in school with or whatever. Like she had just graduated high school and I'm like 20 and I've known her for a while, but like, we were in high school together before that. And she fucking told me, she's like, I want you to take my virginity. I just, it's like the summer. After high school, I want you to take it. And I did it. She probably hated it. It was like very brief. And I always think about that. Like, I can't remember her name, but I wonder if she thinks about that. Like, I wonder if every time she tells a virginity story,
Yeah.
it's my shitty dick in the backseat of the fucking car.
What type of car was it?
A Buick Regal.
When I was in high school, I don't know why I had a thing for taking virginities, but I was like, I think I took like 5 in high school because I'm like, they'll remember me forever.
Yeah, right? Isn't that a cool idea?
It's like kind of like a power trip for me, but I'm like, they can never forget me.
I took like 4 or 5. I took like 4.
Really?
4 of
I
each.
think I got 4 or maybe 3.
Yeah.
But like
Cherry poppers.
It's crazy because like when you're young, that seems like a pretty amazing accolade. But then you
Yeah.
kind of get older and you're like, oh wait, like
They probably forgot about
it. Doesn't
me.
seem like that big a deal once I knew that I was gonna fuck like hundreds and hundreds of humans and forget most of them. Anyways, okay, so before we even get into the OnlyFans and stuff, so you're in high school and then you get out of high school. Like, what do you do after high school?
I went to the University of Arizona for 4 years.
Now,
Graduated.
how old are you right now?
I'm 24.
24. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I graduated with a marketing degree.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely partied for a few years, and then I worked 2 like corporate jobs out of college.
Describe partying.
I'm a big raver, so
Ooh. You want ecstasy right now?
No, I stopped taking ecstasy because I started rolling. Well, my parents didn't even know about this part. They sent me to rehab for weed, but I started rolling when I was like 15. My friends lied to me and were like, "This is weed in a pill," and I'm like, sick. Then I started rolling at school.
Yeah, some Manhattan shit for sure.
Yeah, that's Manhattan Beach shit for sure. So, by the time I was in college, like after my freshman, sophomore, junior year, it doesn't really have a big effect on me anymore. It just doesn't feel great, and then I still have the same come downs. So when I stopped rolling, I started like doing acid. Like I started doing acid a lot. Like it got to the point I could take 5 tabs and be normal.
What
So
When you were how old?
I was 21.
And you could take 5 tabs and be actually normal. Like it actually stopped impacting you?
No, I mean, I was tripping for sure, but like not like to the point I was floored or anything like that. Like I was
Wow.
definitely fucked up, but I could take like 5 tabs, yeah. I mean, that was my max. Like, I mean, there were times I could take like 3 tabs at once and like pop Molly or something. I mean, I'm a big raver, so I feel like this is like, but yeah. Now I just take shrooms and I don't really drink anymore. I drink once a month and then I take shrooms for every other weekend or every weekend pretty
What's
much.
it like when you drink?
Drinking used to be great, but now it gives me anxiety and I get hangxiety. And it's like when I take shrooms, I feel fine the next day as long as I sleep enough. And shrooms help with my depression. And I feel like shrooms make it feel like I'm rolling, but they're mushrooms.
Right. Yeah, I feel like at a certain point though, like mushrooms to me, like man, that's a rough next day. Like
Really?
I felt like shit the next day so many times. But acid, I felt really horrible the next day.
Yeah, acid never used to do this to me. And then the last time I like tripped, I just had such a bad come down. It was crazy because you know how I just said I used to be able to do 5 tabs. I took up a 4th of a tab like a month ago and I was floored.
Really?
Absolutely floored, throwing up. Like I was like trying to headbang and like falling over because I listened to dubstep. So it's like here I was not being able to balance. And I'm like, that was a 4th of a tab and I used to be like killing it.
Wow. So what do you think, what do people get wrong about like the raver scene? Like do you love that world? Are you still a part of it?
Yeah,
Can you still enjoy it without ecstasy or Molly or whatever?
Yeah, no, the only thing is with like being a raver and being 24 now, like I feel like I used to be able to like rave and like be able to go on this like 5-day long bender, and now
Imagine
it's
being
like
37.
dude, I don't know how like people go out like
Yeah.
being that, like I need like 12 hours of sleep nowadays. So now it's like the times that I do drink is usually for raves because when I headbang, it's like my neck gets sore when I'm on shrooms. But alcohol, like I can just take shot after shot after shot, and then I'm like headbanging, not feeling it, and
Makes
then
you forget about the neck trauma that
Yeah.
you're doing to yourself at that moment.
exactly.
That's wild.
I think like some of the misconceptions about raving is that like everyone does drugs who's there, and like people aren't really there for the music. And it's like me, for example, like I've gone to a lot of I mean, I've never been completely sober, but it's like I've gone to a lot of festivals just drinking or like just doing shrooms and not
Right.
being like out of my mind or anything like that. So
Yeah, I mean, I've had like transcendent experiences from going to festivals and shit, but not when I went sober, for sure. Like I've had like crazy ass experience at music festivals, fucked up, thinking it was like the greatest experience of my life, but then I've also been to a lot of music festivals sober, and it's like, oh, this just feels like a day at work.
yeah. I don't think I could do sober, only because like normally I go to bed like at a grandma hour. I'm like 8 p.m. going to sleep. So it's like I need something to keep me up past 8 p.m. Or I'm going to be like, I love this music, but I'm going to go to bed, guys.
Yeah.
How's sex on psychedelics?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's a fun time.
You got any particular experiences that stand out to you as like really amazing?
I'm trying to remember a specific one. I mean, I just remember this one time I was at Hard Summer with my ex, and like my hair, I mean, you can tell it's curly, but it turned into like an absolute afro on acid.
Acid does that? Just makes your hair stand up?
Oh no, it was the fact it was like Hard Summer's like 100-something degrees outside, and I was like sweating and headbanging, and I think I fell a few times.
Oh, but I feel like if it was super hot, my hair would just be like
down. Wouldn't you think that's what would happen? But my hair was just like standing up in like all different directions.
Might have been acid.
It might have
think
been
it was
acid.
acid, yeah,
Maybe I got like
tripping.
electrocuted.